So just to let you know, we look at this as a global picture. We have 55 million people suffering from cognitive impairment worldwide. CogniView is the first FDA de novo cleared digital cognitive assessment device. It's self-administered, it's self-scored, it's accurate, repeatable, and it doesn't have the biases that might be associated with some of the paper and pencil tests that are going on right now. If we were to even capture 30% of this opportunity to do cognitive assessments, it would result in $396 million of revenue. So we're in a unique position of competitive advantage. We've done 212,000 tests to date. We have 100% annual revenue growth over the last 4 years. We've had 6,000 patients that have completed clinical research studies. We have 6 peer-reviewed publications with over 3,300 patients. We're currently in 2 ongoing sponsored studies and involved in 23 investigator-initiated studies. So to let you know, somebody comes to us and says, I'm looking at epilepsy, I'm looking at medication review. They pull in the CogniView device to do the first initial assessment, ongoing assessment. We are protected by 18 patents. We were, again, the de novo clearance, so we had to go through the lovely process with the FDA for 1.5 years of what do we compare ourselves to be de novo. And we are ISO certified. So I think there's a lot of things that are going on right now. We're at that tsunami of dementia and Alzheimer's. The next 20 years, we're gonna just see an influx of all us baby boomers in that 60, 70, 80-year-old range. If you look at this, they say in 2050, there's gonna be a long-term care projected at $1 trillion to take care of people with Alzheimer's. I think we're at a tipping point though, because we finally, after, I think it's 25, 30 years, have some new disease-modifying treatments on the horizon. So what that's done for the industry, it's brought some of the pharmaceutical companies back into, oh, there's a market here. There's somewhere we can look at. So we're in a tipping point of, we have a drug-modifying therapy, whether it's good, bad, indifferent to that, but it's making brain health, at the top of mind of people again. And then we have effective tools for early stage detection, right? So we're all about early intervention because signs of Alzheimer's start very early. So the earlier we can detect, the earlier we can do programs for wellness and hearing and actually get the drugs to the patients when they need it. So our mission, I won't read this entire thing because we took 2 days writing it, but we want to elevate the gold standard of cognitive health assessments, reduce the stigma, and empower action while it's still with early detection. We want to define the cognitive healthcare continuum so that we're making sure we're reaching all communities. We did, just so you know, we started in 2005 with a neurologist, got an NIH grant. Took about 14 years before I went to the FDA to get clearance. And then, as sometimes happens, the original founder didn't know how to commercialize quite accurately. So Tom Golisano acquired CogniView in 2018. For some of you, it might age me, but our original machine looked like a microfiche machine. It was this big, and about 180 pounds. So we took the next couple of years to make this down to the size of a laptop. And we relaunched in that wonderful March 2020 timeframe into health systems. So you can know how that goes. So this is actually the medical device. So it looks like a small laptop. It weighs about 7 pounds. We like to call Cogni something for everything. But the patient's only interaction is with the Cogni wheel in the center. And our software is calibrated. It's a unique algorithm that calibrates to every patient's unique cognitive abilities. We also have a portal that the data goes up to. We can work with EHRs, so I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. But so believe it or not, in a 10-minute test, we collect 130,000 points of data across 4 cognitive domains, including reaction time and speed processing. We're very sensitive and specific to mild cognitive impairment. We're FDA cleared, we're flexible. I'm gonna jump ahead. So this is kind of what the test looks like as you're taking it. The first 2 tests calibrate to your adaptive motor and visual skills because a 15-year-old motor abilities are probably gonna be a little different than an 80-year-old motor abilities, so we don't wanna take that into account for their cognitive assessment. Then it goes through 4 perception tests, letter, word, shape, and motion. And then 4 memory tests: letter, word, shape, and motion memory. And each test calibrates to the maximum threshold. So every time you take these 1-minute tests, it pushes you to where you fail out. We have 2 products. We have a 5-minute screening and a 10-minute assessment. The 5-minute screening is more for allied health, where we put in audiology and pharmacy. And then the Clarity is the 10-minute, which is mainly used by physicians in clinical research, neurology. How am I doing on time? I don't know. So we have a lot of high-profile clients we're working with. The Cleveland Clinic, U of H. We also have very strong partnerships with the Davos Alzheimer's Collaborative, the Global Alzheimer's Platform, and the Milken Institute, where we sit as strategic advisors and also engage in some of their clinical research trials. So we're uniquely, while we focus on MCI and dementia, we're also uniquely qualified because as we look at everything that affects cognition, we're looking at epilepsy, we're looking at sleep and insomnia. Concussion and TBI is a next big focus for us that I know we're in clinical trials with. So it's not just cognition and Alzheimer's, even though that business alone is enough, but we know we have feelers out that there's many other markets that we can go into. We just have to prove and validate. This is our clinical advisory board. We always like to show this because we're pretty proud of this. We have Dr. Galvin as our chief scientific officer. He's at the University of Miami. He's actually a very much of an expert in Lewy body dementia. Dr. Trin, who is here in Irvine, California, runs a Healthy Brain Clinic, which is a clinical research site. Joel Raskin, formerly of Eli Lilly, retired from the neurology department. And Dr. Liu, you might know, he's a neurosurgeon here at USC. So we just like to show we have a very expert advisory board that gives us great feedback of what our market potential is, are we going the right pathway, and give us product development ideas. So that's it. Thank you.